Hello, this is Purge bringing guys a Purge cast above. It's finally gonna happen. Oh my god. I've been trying to do one of these for like weeks, and I'm finally here doing it, and hopefully it goes well. This was submitted to me by a person on my Twitter, Jason B. Thank you for the submit, RedBrown33. Hopefully it's a fun game. If you guys do want to submit a pubcast, I wouldn't do it for about 2 or 3 months. That's about my spacing right now. Yeah, match ID, brief synopsis of the game, MMR if you can, if it's ranked, and length of the replay is really helpful. And then I can very easily figure out which one I want to cast. So if you get a good game 2 months from now, within a week of you playing the game, send it to me. You can't send me old games because the replays expire within a week, so that's kind of your limiters. So hope you guys are doing well. We got a Purge Gamers Night tonight, which means that we are going to hang out in a chat channel and we're going to play some games together. That means you, if you want to come. I'm probably going to stream it, which means I will probably play with subs instead of you guys. But if you guys want to hang out and make Dota friends and play with other people that like Dota, then tonight's a good night to do it, and you will play with other people that are fans of me. So hopefully you can make Dota friends. I think that's important because I think Dota is way more fun when you play with your friends. So I'm going to free camera up in her. First of all, I should reduce my speed a little bit. Options, camera deceleration all the way. So now it's all beautiful. I think the speed's maybe a little too high, but let's reduce that too. Put it down to like 20 or something. Yeah, that's better. Okay, first off, this is a pub game. We do not know how things are going to go. We don't know what the lanes are going to be and things like that. So let's see what we can get. Boots start on a Lycan with no wolves is a mistake. First things first. Boots first if you're playing safe lane carry is not recommended because unless you're in a 1v1 against a hero that's weak to your right clicks, naturally based on your HP, then I don't think the boots advantage is really what you need. Better off to get a stout shield because you're going to be tanking creeps. Maybe a ring of protection. That way you can eventually build a ring of Basilius and get some mana regen. Those are all good options, and you also don't have very much regen. So, and also getting Feral Impulse, all it does is increase your attack speed by 15 and your damage by 15%. So yeah, he's got bonus 8 damage from it, but you know, you could get more if you had a Basilius. But don't worry guys, Venomancer has saved the day by purchasing a Ring of Basilius himself, and this is kind of makes up for the fact that he doesn't have a Ring of Protection, because now he's got mana regen, but he's not casting it anyways, and this support Venomancer actually doesn't have any regen, and he also went TP first, which is not worth it. You can buy fast TP early in the game, but I wouldn't recommend ever starting with it. This should just definitely be a tango. And also, finishing a full Ring of Basilius at the start of the game is also really expensive. Yeah, you should get the Ring of Protection so you can build it from the side shop, but your first 325 gold can transition immediately towards the Ring of Basilius. Now, this is terrible to do. You do not want to cast this right at the start, because level 1 Plague Wards are very weak. 75 HP means they die in 2 right clicks, and they do feed about 13 gold and some experience, which is going to give your opponents a little bit of an advantage. They also do very low damage. Not only is this 10 damage, but it's piercing damage. Now, it's hard to know this stuff because it's more like you could tell what damage types things were in Warcraft 3, but it was overly complicated compared to Dota 2. So damage type stuff is essentially I'm not talking about physical, pure, or magic. I'm talking about piercing, normal, heroic, siege, chaos, that kind of stuff. To get that kind of information, I'm going to pull it up just so you guys can learn it, because it's something that's very rarely known. Damage types, Dota 2. Hopefully this gives me to the right place and not the physical, pure, etc. Damage types, blah, 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 physical. Okay, here we go. So I got a chart. Normal, pure, siege, chaos, and hero. I think I said all that. This is all you need to know. Piercing damage does 150% extra to unarmored units, and I believe that's melee creeps. Melee creeps have unarmored. Range creeps have light armor. Piercing does 2 times damage to them, okay? Against medium armor type, I have no idea what that is. I don't know if, maybe jungle neutral creeps might have medium or something. I actually have no idea. I feel like they probably have medium, but I'm not sure. Now, there's also heavy, there's also fortified, there's also hero. Those are the armor types. Unarmored, light, medium, heavy, fortified, hero. So piercing does extra damage to creeps, basically. I think it does more to range creeps than it does to melee creeps. And against heroes, it only does 50% damage. So a ward only does 10 damage, half of which is right off the bat, reduced down to 5 against heroes. That means that wards are actually very poor against hero damage. I'm talking Serpent wards and Plague wards are the two. Death ward doesn't work the same. I don't know. It might. I actually don't know what kind of attack type that is. It might be heroic, but I'm not sure. No promises on that one. So Plague wards do terrible damage. They do 5 damage before the person applies damage block or armor reduction. So if we take a look at what this guy's working with, he's got 3 armor, which if we resume the game, I'm gonna go to really small speed just so we can check what he's got. He has 15% physical damage resistance. So that means that every time this Plague Ward hits him for 5 damage, 15% of that is removed. So he probably does more like 4 damage, something like that. I don't know which way it rounds, but it's basically very, very low. And if he has a stout shield as well, I guess you can damage block ward damage. They removed that because it was too good. Because for obvious reasons, the damage numbers are so low, so the damage block would completely counter it. So don't cast your level 1 wards. I think it's probably the worst skill you can ever get at level 1 with Venomancer, unless you're playing offlane Veno, in which case it's good for giving vision. Those wards are pretty much only good for vision. That's about it. Maybe if you're mid, it's okay to spam it at level 1, but in almost all cases, you should always go Gale or Poison attack. If you're against an aggressive dual lane or aggressive tri-lane like this, I dare say the safest is going for Poison Sting because you want to harass them as much as possible, and this guy's already got boots, so you don't really need Gale to guarantee that they can't chase, so I think Poison attack would be the solution here. Let's go through some other damage really quick. Siege damage does 75% against heroes. What does siege damage? You guessed it, catapults. And they take 100% of unarmored and 100% of... They deal 100% to unarmored and light units. They do 75 to heroes. They do 50% bonus against fortified, which is towers. And fortified armor, by the way, which is also catapults. That's why catapults take so little damage. Fortified units take 35% of piercing damage. That means wards versus towers, things like that. Or range creeps versus catapults. They take 70% of normal damage. They take 150% of siege. That's why sieges do so much to other sieges. And heroes do 50% of their normal damage to fortified, which is catapult. So if you guys ever wondered why it seems like some HP bars are a little bit different, it's because of those damage types. Something most people don't really understand or don't maybe not know a huge amount, but they can get by without it because you don't necessarily need to know that stuff to be good at Dota, right? It's just the small behind the scenes things. So I really don't know what is heavy armored in Dota 2. I'm not quite sure, but I just know that I believe melee creeps are unarmored and range creeps are lightly armored. And lightly armored take more damage from piercing for some reason. You'd think it would be the other way, but it's not. Two other ones that I want to point out, chaos and hero damage. Chaos damage is very, very common for large neutral creeps. So like centaurs, I believe, do chaos. The Hellbear Smashers, the red ones, those do chaos damage. The Wildkin does chaos damage. It's very good damage basically. And the reason those creeps hurt you so bad is because they don't do normal damage. Normal damage does 75% to hero armor, which all heroes have, I believe. Chaos damage does 100%. Other source of chaos damage, Infernal Golem does chaos damage. I believe Death Ward does chaos damage. I'm pretty sure it does chaos damage. I'm not 100% sure, but I'm pretty sure it does chaos damage. And there's also hero damage, which is only done by heroes in almost all cases. The only difference between hero damage and chaos damage is that hero does 50% to fortified, chaos does 40%. So that means that neutral creeps or Infernal Golem, it does slightly less damage than heroes do to towers. So figured I'd take this moment and talk about damage types because I almost never talk about them. And they're almost never used. It's always physical damage, by the way. These are never anything else. And I don't really see anything else that's particularly worth pointing out. So Chaos and Hero do 100% to everything except for Fortified, so that's important to remember. Oh, one last thing to mention about that. You know what's really cool is that Spirit Bear, the Syllabear Bear, it doesn't do hero damage, and it doesn't do chaos damage either. It actually does normal damage. That one's kind of weird. And if we talk about how it interacts with things, a normal damage type to heroes only does 75%. So that means every damage that you do in your bear is only worth 3/4 of a hero's. Does that sound like a gender issue to you? But yeah, the Spirit Bear does less damage. It's one of the reasons that Radiance is so good, because it does magic mana burn. So it doesn't matter how hard you hit. The mana burn, or the damage burn, does just as much no matter what. So something to keep in mind about Syllabear. That's why Syllabear, it's one of the things that keeps the hero a little bit in check, I feel. So keep that in mind. Syllabear normal damage doesn't do heroic or hero damage, therefore does less damage to heroes. It means every damage item you buy is 35% or 75% of its normal effectiveness. Okay, we can continue. I think I talked about pretty much all the important interactions there. The only reason I remember some of this stuff is because I remember playing Dota 1, and I remember what the icons look like. Because you could see basically every hero's, like where the sword would be, it would show a specific icon based on the damage type. And they decided to remove that in Dota 2, which I think was a good choice. Because it's something that's mostly irrelevant, you know? Like you see how much damage creeps do to each other. You see how much heroes do to each other. And most of them are pretty across the board static, and it's not that important. The only one that's really kind of important for is when you're talking about ward damage and when you're talking about Silo Bear damage. That's basically the only ones. And sometimes talking about neutral creeps too. So, alright, so let's see how the tri-lane is going. An aggressive tri-lane is actually pretty good to do. But if you do an aggressive tri-lane, you need to get kills. And it looks like it was maybe a fight about where to go in the lanes. All these lanes are just ridiculous, honestly. They really shouldn't be like this. Like, if they do an aggressive tri-lane, that's cool, but you have to start getting kills. And what you should do is look at your opponent's items and look for weaknesses. And at really low levels, you can see so many weaknesses. This is the only way to make the wards good, by the way, is you put them in the trees. That way your opponents can't necessarily find them really easily. And he's applying Poison Sting now, which makes his Plague Ward levels worth it. Like, if you ever want to go Poison Sting into Plague Wards, that's totally cool. I understand that's useful. But going Plague Ward first, I think, is a mistake. So, what basically should be happening is these two guys who have way more regen than their opponents, they should look at their opponents and say, Lycan has boots first. This Venomancer went Plague Ward level 1. Just fucking kill a Venomancer. He doesn't even have regen. If you lower his HP down to, like, 30%, what's he going to do? He has to leave the lane because literally any disable is going to result in his death. So as soon as they got down to this bot lane, what should have happened is this Legion commander who had tons of regen and tons of stats should have just ran at the Venomancer and attacked him. And that's simple. And he would have procced his third skill, Moment of Courage, and this guy would have maybe shackled him and stunned him for a couple seconds, and Troll simply just would have right-clicked him, and the Veno actually just would have died. Lycan has high damage, and yes, he has armor from a Basilius, but they could have punished this lane. And what's happening instead? These guys they have complete lane control. I mean, obviously they're okay, I'm sorry. Troll is actually last hitting very well in comparison to these guys. But, like, they've gotten full experience out of their lane, and I feel like they've been pushing, not that pushing is a good thing in Dota, but they've been able to do what they want in a lane that shouldn't have happened. And this is an opportunity that was lost by these guys. And obviously it's very easy to see the cracks when you're looking at a 1K MMR game or whatever this is. But you need to look for those cracks when you're playing at all levels. And it doesn't matter how small the crack is. Once you see the crack, you can potentially exploit it. So always look for those laning cracks, especially if you're in weird dual lanes like this, where you're in a low-level game. Because a lot of people ask about that. What do I do in my low-level games? Because I can't get a free farm setup as a carry like you do in your games. Well, you got to look for the cracks. Play a hero that's decent at being aggressive, and just outplay your opponent. Say like, oh, I'm stronger than they are, so if I just fight him, he'll probably fight me back, but I know I'm stronger, so I'll kill him. And then you kill him, and then you get a level, and then you go back to base to heal, or you use your regen to heal, and then that pushes you into an advantage, into a stupid dual lane that shouldn't ever happen in a game of Dota. So that's what you need to do to raise your MMR. You have to look for those opportunities, and you need to take them. Now, Troll's skill build, I'm not a huge fan of this. I wish you would get at least one level Whirling Axes, because when you have a level Berserker's Rage, it gives you two options. You can either slow somebody and do 75 damage, or you can do a blind. And against a hero like Lycan and Veno, I think the blind is really important, because that's applications of Poison Sting. That's a hit for, what, 75 damage? That's a big hit here. If he goes for a second level Fervor instead, he gets a very, very marginal benefit. The Fervor really only is useful if he's auto-attacking neutrals, or he's fighting one guy for a really, really long time, or if he's Roshing, none of which he's doing here. I don't like this skill build on Shadow Shaman. I think it has some merit now more than the past, because the mana cost on Shackle scales much, much better than it used to. It used to scale by 25 mana per level, now it's 10 mana per level. And I think it's a much better ability than it used to be, but in most cases you don't channel for the full duration, and Hex is a bit better to just spam. If anything, Hex is a little bit expensive in terms of mana cost. Maybe it'll get nerfed or buffed down, I'm not entirely sure. But Ether Shock is the ability you want to max first, because it gives you an AoE, it's very mana efficient, it's very spammable, 8-second cooldown, and it's the best way to do damage as this hero. Yeah, sure, you can disable for a very long time, but you can do that with just one level of Hex and one level of Shackles. You can actually... that's actually something interesting to think about. Is it worth it to get 2 levels of Shackles and skip Hex now? Because Hex only lasts for 125 and it costs 110. I'm not entirely sure about that one. Oh, I'm sorry, I thought he was ganking the Weaver here. Well, that was a pretty easy kill here. It seems like Viper's having a tough time versus Weaver. It's not a good lane for Viper, so I can understand why it would be rough. He went Wraithband first. the solution he kind of actually needed was a Ring of Protection, actually, because the advantage that Weaver basically has is he gets a crit every 6 seconds, which is physical damage. A crit for double damage, basically. He also does a bit of magic damage, but you can reduce that with just a single skill point in Corrosive Skin to be a little bit less obnoxious. I also think his skill build is slightly wrong here. I mean, really, what Viper should do is he should win the first fight. That's what should happen. Like, a Weaver does far, far less damage than you do in a right-click engagement in the early game, because Weaver's strength gain, or stat gain, is terrible, and his early stats are very, very low. His agility is quite weak. So a Viper should be able to out-harass, in my opinion, a Weaver, but I'm not entirely sure about that. Because I feel like if you use Sakuchi correctly, it'll give you a big advantage, but it seems like the Weaver's just playing really, really well, basically. He's just abusing his opponents that really don't know how to play against Weaver. And if you don't know how to play against the hero, then it becomes very difficult. Like, the fact that Viper even shifted over, for example, just shows that he doesn't understand the matchup, right? And it's absolutely not worth it in this many levels in Poison Attack. The only time it's worth it is when you know you're going to be able to outkite your opponent. You're leveling this skill up not for the damage. I mean, yeah, it reduces attack speed, you could argue for that, but you level the skill up because it improves the slow, but against a Weaver, the slow is really marginal because you can just go max movement speed. So what this guy should be doing is thinking, oh, he's got an immunity to my slow. Do I really want to level this up to give myself an extra 12 magic damage over 2 seconds? Like, that's really poor to go from level 1 to level 2. And by level 3, same thing. By putting 2 skill points into this, he reduced the Weaver's attack speed by 20 extra points. Attack him. See, if he just had an extra level of Nether Toxin or an extra level of Corrosive Skin, he would have killed that guy, almost guaranteed. Like, it's basically just not worth it. Like, look at the damage difference between Corrosive Skin, for example. Let's say you get 1 more level of Poison Attack, and you want it for damage. Again, it increases your damage by 12 over a 2-second period. If you get 1 extra skill point in Corrosive Skin, it does 5 extra damage for 4 seconds. That's 20 damage. That alone is far more damage. So if you're literally just wanting to focus on the magic output that you have, getting more levels of Corrosive Skin is easily better. And to beat a Weaver, all you have to do is out DPS him in the short period of time between him Sakuchiing. And when he does Sakuchi, you just stand there and you wait for him to come back out. And when he comes back out, you attack him again. And it should be fine because every time that he runs through you or attacks you, he's going to take 40 magic damage. So if I was playing against a Weaver, the build I probably would have gone is maybe like a 1-2-2 build. Because I still get that 20 damage over 2 seconds out of Poison Attack. I can still slightly reduce his attack speed with Poison Attack. He would also be getting reduced attack speed from Corrosive Skin. Those 2 skill points together would give me a attack speed slow of 25. Whereas if you go with 2 Poison Attack and 1 Corrosive Skin, it's 30. It's pretty darn comparable, and the damage is better with Corrosive Skin, and it increases your magic resistance, which gives you slightly more resistance against him using Sakuchi. And then when you're actually hitting the guy, having Nether Toxin increases your physical damage by a lot. So when Weaver's HP is really low, all of a sudden, I don't know if you guys have ever tried this, but I did it a couple of games where you max out Nether Toxin first. It is really good sometimes. Your opponents do not see it coming. If they go down to 25% HP, they just die. Because at level 7, you're hitting them for up to like 100 physical damage. Isn't that amazing? That's like a triple damage, basically. It's actually a triple damage. Because the double damage would increase your damage from like 60 to 120. Well, this would increase you from like 60 to 150, 160. It's like a triple damage almost. It's really strong to get more points of this. And if you are just in a 1v1 matchup against a guy that right-clicks you, get a mix of Corrosive Skin and Nether Toxin if you can't kite him. The only reason it's not worth it to get the Poison Attack here is because this guy's unkiteable and he can dodge your attacks. So he should have been focusing on Nether Toxin and Corrosive Skin. Now, as I've just hashed out his skill build problems here, he as well could have just outplayed the guy. Like, no, I'm slightly stronger than him. I don't know what happened in the first death, but he obviously made a mistake. Maybe he went too aggressive. Maybe the Weaver outplayed him or something like that. What the? Don't people understand? They just don't get how Weaver works, I guess. Lycan here, level 6, should have 3 points in his Wolf. The 3rd point in the Wolf is really strong. Really, really strong. You basically need it because your wolves go invisible then, and then you can use them to basically abuse your opponents and harass constantly. Oh wow, he's going to be able to get a regen. I think his skill build is fine here. I don't much like the 2nd level in the Swarm. I would rather he get Geminate, I believe. But that's maybe a questionable call. Looks like they really want the Viper here. Okay, I don't know why 4 people are here. There should be somebody bottom to sap experience at least, but I guess that's not happening. Looks like Venomancer actually just rushed to Midas without regen. I can't really believe this worked, but it did. That mistake should have been punished, honestly. There's no excuse for a Venomancer being able to go Midas rush with just a Ring of Basilius in the early game. I mean, I guess he was pushing the lane constantly and people were scared of taking the poison damage. I actually do kind of like this skill build. The 1 point of Venomous Scale is an okay skill right now, not amazing. It does 75 damage over the course of 15 seconds. It's a great skill if you level it up 4 points immediately for the burst damage, but you often fall off really heavily in the early game. And for this guy, it probably helps him increase his farming speed. He's probably not very good at last hit-ins, so by just pushing very often and having a lot of attacks going out, it increases his farming rate. So if he does get a Midas out of that, that's pretty good. I hope he makes a Midas at this point, because it's decently fast for a support. Obviously, he's kind of been like a core this whole time, but I actually used to go phase boots on Viper a long time ago. But since then, I pretty much just entirely gave up on it. When you go phase boots on Viper, it's less about tanking, it's more about right-clicking, I would argue, because your survivability is not quite as high. And if you do go that build, you have a lot of trouble dealing with the mech mana. So I personally don't get phase boots ever anymore, except for maybe if I'm in like a mid 1v1 would be okay, because you get bonus damage. But he should have spotted the Shadow Shaman here and maybe been able to kill him. I do kind of like his skill build now. If he maxes out next with Nether Toxin next, I would be happy, because he is against a lot of physical damage heroes. Poor skill build here on the Legion Commander. I don't like the second point to press the attack here. I think you should almost always max out Overwhelming Odds with a single point in Moment of Courage. It's like a pretty easy kill on the Shadow Shaman here. That appears to be an AFK hero. Lycan went Treads with Morbid Masses. Should be a Vlad's Rush and then finish Treads, in my opinion. I think that build is much stronger. The Bat Rider build is slightly wrong. Normally you go 2 levels in the Sticky Napalm and then max out Firefly, but I've heard that Bat Rider's in a terrible place right now. I haven't played him in a very long time. I might try him out in like an unranked game soon, but he's in a very bad place right now apparently. So, although... Oh, I guess you need 4 skill points. I don't know why he's running. They could actually just fight this. It's kind of a ditch here. Oh, this is really rough. With the spin, Viper basically can't hit accurately, so definitely in a bit of a hard spot. Ooh, he does get him, but with the proc there. Lifesteal through 65. Yeah, leveling this skill up is good because it lowers the cooldown, but for the lifesteal, you shouldn't level this up, I kind of feel. Like, you get more hits, but the best thing about leveling the skill up is reducing the cooldown so you can use it more often when you're dueling, in my opinion. I think it's fine as a 1 skill point right now, personally. Yeah, I think that's fine. Like, you really need Overwhelming Odds to get some bonus damage out to increase your farming speed in the early game. Okay, that was a poor choice. Okay, he's actually still gonna die here. Phase actually would be very useful here, but he's gonna be able to run away. Viper actually has very low movement speed. He goes from what, 335 to like 380, so can definitely help when you're catching up. That's an extremely dead hero. He is eventually going for the Vlads. Where's the Veno at? Damn it, he didn't make a Midas? What the hell? Boots of Travel? That is so... It was just staring at him like, buy Midas. It's obvious, you have a Gloves of Haste, it's time for Midas. Instead he buys Boots of Travel. What does that do? All that helps him do is run faster and teleport from lane to lane. Midas would have been so much better. Like, Veno, if you're able to farm a lot, it's actually really strong. Because you're able to pick up things like Ags with a Veil or something like that. And then you can just wreck your opponents because you do so much magic damage to them. It's incredible. I kind of like that the Radiant team is pushing up on the top lane though. A Vanguard pickup on Centaur is a little atypical. I feel like at lower levels it's fine to do this because players will not, like, they're going to run into your stomp. Like, the troll just let the Centaur jump on him, right? And there's actually a lot of right clickers. The Vanguard will be able to block Geminate attacks. It'll be able to block Legion Commander attacks. It'll block Troll Warlord attacks. So in the early game, this makes Centaur extremely strong in terms of survivability. So it's kind of good, I think. Looks like they're going to find the Legion again. Oh, this might be a Dire Collapse, actually. This looks pretty good for them. I like the fast Deso, but I feel like you should have gotten Treads first. Ooh, we were messed up. Okay. He should have time-lapsed probably. I don't know if he realized that his HP was so low, but when you get Veno ultied, you're in a bad spot. And that was basically a big big no treads problem that the Weaver had there, in my opinion. He just didn't have treads, so his attack speed was really low. And that's actually a big problem for Weaver, because the amount of time that you spend attacking is very high because your attack speed is so crap without power treads, especially because his agility is fairly low. So once you actually grab the treads, you can throw off your attacks faster and then get back to Sakuchi. Otherwise, you have to wait like an extra 0.6 seconds or something like that, rather than 0.3 seconds or 0.5 seconds. It actually adds up over the course of a long chase. So I think his build is slightly wrong here. The fast Deso is kind of a cool idea, but against the Centaur it actually doesn't work very well. He actually didn't do very much damage to the Cent. And that's due to the fact that he had a Vanguard. Damage blocking and all that. This guy consistently just uses his invis to run away. It's pretty funny. At this point, I have no fucking clue what this guy's building. I actually have no idea. We'll never know. Medallion, maybe? I don't know. Mech. Mech is good on Benno. I like it. This guy is doing too much... Not enough ganking. He needs to do more ganking. And you should also get at least 1 level spiked Carapace, I think, in almost all cases. I kind of wish Flamebreak did more burn ticks.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
It's right, like, it's cool, like, it does multiple damage sources now, but it does up to 4 stacks at level 4. So that means you basically need a level 4 Flamebreak for it to be really useful, which is a little unfortunate, I think. Also does less total damage, 200. But that's because, the Napalm can make it too big otherwise. I don't know what he's complaining about. And it's actually really funny to me when lower skilled players complain about things. I'm just like,
oh, what a bird.
I just can't handle it. It's like whenever I casually play Heroes of the Storm, somebody gets really upset. And I'm like, yo, we're playing fucking Heroes of the Storm. Why are you complaining about this game, you know? It's like, this game is so casual. What's the big deal? We're playing this to like relax or something, you know? Sometimes I wish I could feel like that in Dota. I have a really hard time just being super carefree and just letting go and having a good time. I just try too hard in this game sometimes, which is good in some ways, bad in others. Vlad's up on Lycan. He should be jungling. No reason he should be standing around. Ancients is easily attainable with him. Spawn Wolves hit him. Easy. Like, Lycan's benefit is that he has ridiculous physical damage output. And that's basically because of Feral Impulse. You get 30% attack speed and 30 damage, and that applies to your Wolves. So your Wolves that hit for 46 damage. I don't know what damage source these are. Maybe normal? Sorry, that was my I don't know. Maybe... I feel like they're normal, but I don't know for sure. I don't know. And look at all this time he just spent walking around. He could have been killing stuff the whole time. He's probably looking at himself. He's like, dude, I'm 204. I'm doing great. But in reality, he could have had an ancient camp killed. That would have been like 200 gold. He finally walks into a jungle camp to get something done. Like, we're 18 minutes and the highest CS is 54, man. That is the trench. We're looking at the trench right now. So, Treads, Deso, I think this is a great build. The Wraith Band is fine. I wish he had a Basilius, maybe. Good Basilius would have been pretty good. She does very, very good damage, relatively. I mean, he's damage blocking up to 40 of each hit. Weaver's actually not hitting that hard, you know? I really feel like he would hit harder. But it's actually quite... There's a moderate amount of high armor heroes in this game, I think. Probably why. Alright, the time lapse. I don't know if he even took damage there. I feel that was unnecessary. This guy should honestly have a lot more, though. I mean, he's got a ridiculous amount of kills, but he hasn't been farming since then. His itemization, I think, is fine. He should poke a little bit more. I think he could get away with it. But he does have time-lapse cooldowns, so maybe it's dangerous, but... Like, if I was escaping right now, I would actually just farm this camp on the way out. Because it slightly increases your efficiency. Yeah, he went to go grab a rune, but he could have had a camp finish. And I also definitely would have saved Illusion. Illusion's actually a really good rune on Weaver if you have a bottle, because you can Sakuchi into melee range, and then as you break melee range, as you break your invis, you pop your Illusions, and the Illusions are right on top of your opponent. They're really good. Instead, he just walks them on his opponent. Like, what's the point? Like, Illusions seem like a really crappy rune, but they actually do have some good uses. I promise. Kill that Bat Rider. Oh, that's a stun. That was a good fight. Now Weaver just pretty much cleans up. This is Geminate's level 4. Ooh. He got him. So, good fight for Weaver. 13 kills at 20 minutes. That's a lot. His net worth is 10,000. Okay, that's actually so much net worth. at 20 minutes. That is actually so much. That is a lot of net worth. Doesn't have that many CS, but also he should be switching to agility treads whenever he bottles, because that will give him slightly more mana. Still no blink on Batrider. He should just be jungling. You can actually jungle. I mean, it's not as easy as it was in the past because your damage is lower, and I believe Napalm does half. Yeah, it does half against creeps than it used to in the past, so it's a little bit worse. Quite a bit worse, actually. But I think it's still possible to do. Hopefully he does the double camp. Oh, please don't just single camp. You should always do 2 camps or multiple camps when you do Firefly. It's either on 1 camp here and this camp, or you can do all 3 camps. Start here, run to this camp, pull them all in the middle, continue to stack Napalm. Like, he got half efficiency out of it. Yeah, it's a Mud Golem, so it wouldn't have actually taken that much damage anyways, but you know, he could have gotten some advantage out of that. And at this point, Viper has Phase with the Yasha. I don't think this build is very good, at least from a mid perspective, because I feel like mid is a little too vulnerable. At this level, it probably works fine because people aren't really playing aggressively enough and they're not chain stunning their abilities. But Viper, if you just get a little tanky on him, his hero becomes really, really useful. And this guy's instead going for a right-click damage build, and there's just better heroes that do that, basically. In my opinion, you're better off going for something else ranged, I think. Not exactly sure what it is, but there's better heroes if you want to go for a right-click damage build. If you do get forced into it based on your picking, then maybe sometimes you need to go carry build. And actually, this is one of those games because he doesn't have that much carry potential on his team. It's just a Lycan and a Venno, if you count that. And he's rushing AC first, which is the weirdest thing ever. Don't recommend in the slightest. Not a good build. On the bright side, they do have Vlads. When they get the AC, they're going to have 10 extra armor on their whole team. That's pretty cool. Be a 1 duel, I believe. Okay. That's good. Well done by the Dire team, putting some wards down. They do have some wards on the map. Radiant doesn't. God, this guy could have wrecked this game so hard. I hate looking at players like this, and I'm like, I want to be that guy. I want to play his game because it would be so simple. He could have bought Midas at like 10 minutes, maybe a little earlier if he last hit better, and then he could have had like Aghanim Scepter by like 20 minutes. And if he really wants to get an AC, okay, get your AC, man. It'll take you another 5 or 8 minutes to farm it. But it's such an inefficient build. There's no reason to have this much armor when your HP is this low. Like, yeah, it makes your HP better against physical damage, but what happens if somebody comes up and like casts Ether Shock on you twice? You die, basically, more or less. I really don't like this build. I don't think this is the right way to play Legion Commander at all. I am going to make a Legion Commander video. I think I'm going to try to do my Dazzle replay today. And my Legion video comes out the day after. Hopefully. I might upload this video and another today, but no promises. But yeah, you gotta max out your overwhelming odds. It does a lot of damage. It does extra damage to heroes. Obviously, the movement speed it gives you is the same at all levels. So if that's all you want it for, 1 skill point is the way to go. But like, you should get the levels for these other abilities by getting kills and by farming, basically. You shouldn't do it by like, this isn't the way to play Legion. People undervalue nukes a little bit too often at lower levels. They're just like, oh, why do I want a nuke? I want to carry. But the problem is that these abilities don't scale very well early. Like, it takes a long time until the carry abilities actually become really useful, and that's usually at least 30 minutes into the game. So if you spend your first, like, 15 minutes with this shit skill build where you got attack speed, and yeah, you can Moment of Courage for extra lifesteal, like, it's just not worth the skill points. What is worth skill points is raw damage that will get you kills, that will help you gank, and will just make your hero a lot stronger. Like, look at, he got one Moment of Courage cut out of that entire duel. Literally one. 3 entire skill points put into this ability. More than, I'm saying 1 skill point is great, but he put 3 skill points into this ability, and he only got 1 cut out of it. So what did he get out of his 3 points there? He got 30% lifesteal on 1 attack, which is how much damage? How much life? 30% of 120 is literally 36 HP. For 3 skill points, he gained himself 36 HP in that team fight. You know how else you can get 36 HP? 1 point in stats. And he put 3 points into this Moment of Courage, and he got 36 HP. Instead, he could have rolled up, casted overwhelming odds on 3 heroes, which would have done 160 plus 135. That's a 300 damage nuke. Don't you guys think 300 damage is far better than 30 HP? Fuck, man. God, it's so infuriating. I hate this build so much. I hate it so much. And you definitely don't need to buy lifesteal, because you already got lifesteal. It's right here, baby. 36 HP. In the late game, the lifesteal in this is actually really good, because you're hitting for like 150, 200 damage, and every time you lifesteal, you get like 200 HP. That's amazing. But you shouldn't spend your money on Helm of the Dominator. The items you need on this hero are armor, which, in his favor, Helm of the Dominator gives. You need armor, you need mobility, either Blink or Shadow Blade to get your duels off, and you also need Black King Bar to be magic immune. That way when you duel somebody, you don't just get chain stunned and get limited for damage output. Because that's the time when you need to do damage. It's when they're stunned. That's when you gotta do the damage. It's really, really important. How's Viper doing? Manta, worst Viper item imaginable. The only thing that's good about this... Alright, that was... I feel like he was like, alright, this is a good time to duel. And then it took him like 4 minutes to click on the Centaur and finally duel him. He's like, well, that was a good time to duel about 40 seconds ago, but then I couldn't click on the hero, and I just kind of froze up and didn't know what to do. The only way that Manta is kind of okay on Viper is if, number one, if your opponent has a silence, and number two, because Corrosive Skin works on illusions. So if your illusions take damage, they will reflect Corrosive Skin. But that's it. That's like the only reason it's kind of okay. And that doesn't justify. Manta is not a good first damage item on almost any hero. The only exceptions to this are heroes like Drow Ranger, whose ultimate now applies to Mantas. It works. It's good for heroes like illusion heroes. Manta on Anti-Mage is really good because he has a passive that it makes his illusions really strong. It's okay on heroes like PL because getting illusions can be really good. There's a couple situations where it's okay, but it's not a good item on Viper. Yeah, the Yasha is great. Sure, buy a Yasha, but you know what you should buy instead of a Manta? You should buy Sanjin Yasha. Sanjin Yasha on Viper, that's a good item. Manta style, not so good. It doesn't apply you slows. It spawns you a bunch of illusions that hit for like a very piddly amount of damage. I'm pretty sure they don't get the Nether Toxin bonus either, so literally they're just really shit heroes. You do 28% ranged, so 28% of 119 is like 32 damage or something like that. So you're getting like 60 physical damage at a lower attack speed out of your illusions. It's just not worth it, and half the time they're not attacking the right thing, or they die fast. Like, why spend the money on that? Like, it's just not worth it. If he gets a Sanjin Yasha instead, he gets 16 movement speed, 16% movement speed instead of 10. He gets an extra slow that he can use on his opponent. The main lat does like, what, 32% slow or something like that? Here comes the lifesteal. Wow, 3 skill points that did nothing. Fuck. Not that Woman Odds would have saved him there or anything, but... Like, a Sanjin Yasha is actually a good Viper item, in my opinion. If somebody else builds a mech, you should build a Sanjin Yasha instead, in my opinion. Lots of movement speed, gives you some HP to work with so that your Corrosive Skin gives you more of a barrier of staying alive. I think that build is good. But a Manta style on almost any carry is almost always the wrong choice until later. You don't want to get it until later. By later, I basically mean, like, look, he's obviously building a butterfly, right? Oh, if Viper has a butterfly, and he's got like a, I don't know, if he has a butterfly, then okay, whatever, make your Manta, because at that point your illusions have much higher agility because you have a Manta style. But this early in the game, it's just not worth it. It is not worth it to get it this early. I do not think that, I don't think that's true at all. It's not worth it to get it this early. So, very, very meager payoff. You know what it is okay against? It's kind of good against Weaver because he doesn't, well, he does have AoE actually, but if he didn't have Sakuchi damage, then it would be good against Weaver, because then he would have to figure out which one's the real one. And that's kind of good. You know how else it's good this game? It's actually good against Troll Warlord, because if Troll axes you, you can Manta to remove the debuff. And if you're attacking the Legion Commander, you can Manta, he doesn't know which one to duel. And it's okay versus Shadow Shaman, because if a Shadow Shaman's trying to gank you and you Manta style, he doesn't know which one to Hex or Shackle. That's assuming that you use it correctly, and I guarantee that this guy just buys Manta all the time in Viper. Not a good item, though. Marginally increases his damage. As an item, it's almost 5,000 gold. It's 5,000 gold, and you know how much damage this gives you? 26 damage for 5,000 gold. Why would you spend that money? Like, what is the purpose? It's a 5,000 gold item. It gives you 26 damage and 15 attack speed. Do you know what else you can spend 5,000 gold on? Like, so many other things. You can almost build a Daedalus. That's 81 damage with a critical chance. That would be far better than a Manta style. Like, Sanji and Yasha alone probably gives you as much, if not more damage. 16 damage. It literally gives more damage than Manta style does. 16 damage plus your primary attribute. That is 32 damage, baby. Plus extra movement speed, plus the maim. Far better than what a Manta style does. Manta is only good if it interacts with your skills or if you have a ton of agility. Morphling, great Manta hero because you have so much agility. Viper, not so much. Don't do it. Bind Butterfly makes it more justified. But again, it should be purchased as you already have those items. That was hilarious. He actually just tried to stomp his Venom because he thought his Venom was an enemy because he TP'd onto the creep. I actually thought so as well. So I'll give him a break here. AC as a Venom pickup, not good. Doesn't synergize with your abilities. It should be an Ags purchase first or a mech. One of those two things. Mech, Ags, something like that. I did buy a AC on my Venomancer the other day when I played that like 70-minute game. But I did that because I needed to carry on Venomancer. And I needed physical resistance against their damage. So AC was the right pick. And I had like a Butterfly as well. So high physical resistance, high physical evasion. It was an okay pick. But first item, never do it. It barely buffs your damage. Like a large composition, or what word am I looking for? A large percentage of your damage is magical in the early game. It's almost all of it, actually. Almost all of the damage is magical. You ulti somebody, and they take like 1,000 magic damage. Why bother getting an AC when you could get a Veil, and you can increase that by 250, you know? Big survivability coming out of that. And Veil actually also gives armor, so... I have no idea why he's TPing here. I feel like he could have TP'd here, or TP'd here instead, or TP'd here. That would have been better. He did see the gang coming, so he's probably panicked, but... You know, that could be done slightly better. Alright, when you're making a Butterfly, do not buy the small items first. I think it's far inferior. The reason is because he's being item inefficient. Oh, he should have gone for that kill. That was the kill, I think. He's got it now. But basically, the reason this kind of works and is okay for a low-level player is because you haven't filled your item slots. But if you're a higher level player, your item slots are probably filled, and that's because you buy a lot more efficiency items. An item that's great on Viper and any hero that survives by staying alive is a magic wand. You should always buy at least a magic stick on a hero like Viper, Razor, Undying, things like that. You should have that in your inventory. And this guy should have one in his inventory, at least a magic stick. He should also carry a TP at all times. So when you have a TP and a magic wand, all of a sudden he doesn't have space for a little shitty quarterstaff and a talisman of evasion. So why would you buy quarterstaff first? You should save up, buy the big piece first, throw that in your one item slot. You're more item slot efficient, and now you're not walking around with all these two items that do very, very little. And they really do very little. Look at this Weaver. See all this damage he's got? He didn't buy a fucking Manta. And that's why he's got so many kills. Because he's like, wow, I do a shitload of damage if I buy a Desolator. And then I buy a Daedalus. And then I buy a Monkey King Bar. It's like, I can one-shot people. That's pretty cool. And that's what he realized. And then he started doing it. And that's Aegis. Manta. Oh, he doesn't know which one's real. And it's working. It worked, guys. Should have bet Sanji Yasha, though. Let's be real. Oh. He's in trouble. He has time lapse. Sukuchi? Okay. He could have just Sukuchi'd away from that, but he got flustered or something. That was weird. So, Viper's about to finish his Butterfly, but he's already got an MKB on the Weaver, so I don't think Weaver's too worried about that one. Weaver kind of has weak HP right now, so I think he needs to solve that problem. Normally, I'd say get a Scotty, because he's an agility carry, but he's got a Desolator and it doesn't stack. So, his solution is maybe something like... I'd almost argue for something like a Linken's this game. I think Linken's would be better than Heart in some ways. Heart is really good because it gives you far more HP. But the Linken's would stop Viper ulti, which is... He doesn't have an egg, so it's kind of a long cooldown. It'll stop Batrider Lasso. Stop a Double Edge. It stops a lot of stuns, basically. So I feel like going for a Linken's might be a better option for him here. Again, much less HP, but I think it's a good item in this game. That looks like an awfully dead hero. He's finally leveled up in his damage, but late game damage isn't even that good. Like, you got to use your damage in the early game to make things work for you. If you guys really want to understand, I feel like a really good way to learn like strengths of abilities is to play a lot of ability draft. When you play a lot of, if you pick like one hero and you get like 3 carry abilities, half the time you just suck because you're like, oh wow, these abilities actually aren't good until I have some items. Like, why is Faceless Void good? Because you can ulti somebody with Chronosphere, pop Mask of Madness, and then you can like triple bash somebody. That's why Void is good. It's not because he has bash. It's because he has freaking Chronosphere, and the bash does double damage. Like that's why that hero is good and can get farm. But other heroes not the same. So yeah, these items look pretty good, but he's still very, very weak to magic damage, and his max HP is not very high. This would be a good point for him to also get a Scotty because it stacks very well with Manta and Butterfly, but again, we have a hero with a natural orb. I think Scotty's actually something you can get on Viper, though, because poison attack lasts for 2 seconds, so you could poison attack, Scotty attack, poison attack, Scotty attack. I think it's actually alright. If you go this build, I think Scotty is definitely the natural progression. I would go for that next. Or I would get MKB or Daedalus here, I think would be okay. Because Daedalus would stack with his illusions, it would allow his illusions to crit, so he'd get good value there. But he's still lacking HP and lifesteal and all that stuff, so I think Scotty would be a good balance between those two thing. How's Century? He did get a Blink finally, but he waited until he had a Vanguard and a Hood to do it. I don't know if I really like that. Who's TPing them?
Gold for me.
Is that Venom? I have no idea who just tried to teleport or why. So he got... Oh, he actually did dodge it. That's good for him. Like, look how much damage. That was 1 Gemini attack, and he lost, like, 500 HP. Alright, is this a BKB? BKB is also a good option, I think. If he builds a BKB here, I think that'll be good for him. It's another way to not have to worry about magic damage as much, but it's kind of hard against a Veno. Because if Veno ultis you, and your BKB runs out, then it still does the damage afterwards. So, and he actually is building Ags now, which should give him a good advantage. So, what is the solution for Weaver? It's kind of a hard place. Like, he definitely needed to get the Desolator. Getting the Daedalus afterwards is good. Getting the MKB is kind of needed because the Viper's going to have a Butterfly. But now you're in this place where, like, an HP item doesn't really fit you very well, is the issue. Wow, that guy died. Holy crap. Pipe's not worth it. Lincoln's, I guess, is what I said before. I just don't know. Oh, he got dusted. Yeah, he had to do that. Sakuchi, damn it. Sakuchi, damn it. Is this guy ever gonna press Sakuchi? Please don't die like that. Jeez, man. Oh, he's actually dead. Oh, that's pretty funny. Damn. What a mess up. He Sakuchi'd through the Viper, so he took the illusion damage. Or the Corset skin. That's pretty funny. 25 damage. That's 100 magic damage, guys. Every time you damage a Viper, think about that. 100 damage. Unless it's within a certain range. I know they changed it slightly. 1400. So, with the Mythor Hammer, it's probably making a BKB. I think BKB is an okay option here. At some point, what maybe the solution is actually selling your Desolator and swapping it out for a Scotty. That actually might be the best option. Or swap it out for an AC. That would work. It gives comparative minus armor, gives you much less damage, but it gives you 55 attack speed, so it probably offset. I think that might be the solution to late game Weaver to fix the problem. This guy's just dying to physical damage, basically. Viper's build is actually very, very good against Troll's build right now. He's got a ton of right click. He's got evasion. Troll's having a rough game, basically. It's pretty back and forth. Kind of a good game, honestly, for a low level game. Yeah, I think the Weaver solution is to get Lincoln's or BKB. And then I would buy a Butterfly, I think.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
Yeah, I think I would. Yeah, I would get a Butterfly. I think that's worth it here. So they don't have MKBs themselves. So I'd go BKB or Lincoln's, and then I would make a Butterfly, and then I would buy an AC, or well, I'd get. I wonder if you should get Moon Shards before getting the AC, because he kind of needs lifesteal. Maybe sell the Desolator or buy Helm of the Dominator, get a Satanic, and then for the last item AC and Moon Shards. It's kind of inefficient, and it goes in a weird path, but I mean, to be honest, if he just plays well, he can easily own them with the items he has, but
bottom tower is under attack.
Not sure. More HP really helps as well, because then you get 2 times of it, essentially. And once you get the AC, you could get the Scotty
Dire's bottom tower has fallen.
if you wanted to, or the lifesteal, or both. That would be good. Swap this out for an AC. Get a Scotty here with a Satanic. That's some damage, baby. Yeah, that'd be really good damage. And then Moonshard to finish it off. He wouldn't have Butterfly, but he's not countered by Evasion, or by MKB then. If they don't have MKB, get a Butterfly. If they do Evasion, go like AC. I think AC is the solution then. That's not gonna, the guy's not gonna die. He's way too. And Viper's basically to the point where he's finally strong. And do you know why he's strong? It is not his Butterfly. Oh, that was maybe a bad time to use Flutter. He was tanky there because of his Reaver. That's why he was really strong. HP plus corrosive skin plus some damage to back it up makes you a very strong hero. That's why I always built very, very HP heavy when I play Vipers. You can ignore that build if you don't want to go like mech and stuff, but at the very least you should get mech probably. And then afterwards you can either go full damage or you can go Ags into semi-damage. I usually like the Ags build personally. I think it's better. But I used to always go mech, Ags, pipe. But I think that build's actually not good. It's only good if you never lose the team fight. If you lose the team fight, it sucks, and then you get behind. But if you just death push and win, then it's fine. So that's why the build's a little bit iffy. But this build is not right. It's definitely not right. It's fine now, but it was so inefficient in the early game that he died a billion times, basically. And that's the problem with it. It's great now, but he built it in a bad order that made him really weak in the early to mid game, more than he should have been. So that's the problem. Venomancer continues split pushing with an AC and a Boots of Travel. What do we got going on over here? Yasha on the Troll. Sanjay Yasha is very, very good on Troll Warlord. One of the items that made him more overpowered. He really benefits from the attack speed, and the maim is really good too, because he has disable problems. I was going to say he has a disability, but he has problems disabling opponents. He needs to disable opponents.
Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
Is he gonna, I guess he's gonna appears to be no bash. Easy kill. Veno, I guess he didn't know that the Nyx was there. Why does he have this Gloves of Haste, guys? What is going on? Why did he buy this? He doesn't even have fucking hands. Like, why would he get a Gloves of Haste? It doesn't make sense. Didn't make a Midas out of it. What the fuck? So, they're pushing things out. They are winning some team fights. We want to see the fight recap. Who cares? Let's see the gold graph. That's the important one. Rating team's in the advantage. Neither team was really super far ahead. Yasha! What happened to that hammer? Did he sell it? I feel like he sold it. Okay, that was good. Oh, this guy got stuck. I really feel like the Weaver needed a BKB. BKB would have been good there. They can definitely win this team fight. Kill that. Oh, he went for the kill instead. I would have killed the courier. He could have killed the courier and continued doing what he was doing. Easy kill. Okay, good. Alright, this is well played by the Weaver, with the exception of not killing the courier. Wow, he actually does so much damage. Man, is the Yasha actually worth it here? It seems to be working out okay. It's actually kind of working out okay. Gives him a lot of movement speed when he's not Sakuchiing, and he does spend some time there when he's attacking. I almost think it's okay at this stage. If he gets a... I wouldn't say get a Manta. It's almost worth it. He's got a crit. Most of his damage comes from damage items, though. Like, this item does nothing for his illusions. The only thing this does for illusions is the fact that he will be able to apply Desolator, so he'll take bonus damage because of that. Daedalus works pretty well on illusions, but he doesn't have that many stats, so he'll only get illusion damage based on the 151 here, not the 219. So Manta's kind of okay here, but I really feel like this should be an SNY if anything, because he just needs HP, right? The 16% movement speed would not be bad. If he had Lincolns, this would have gotten stopped. He can just kill him if he wants to. He did make a Manta. It's okay, but I don't think this is ideal. Definitely not ideal. It's actually pretty rapidly reducing armor. Like how they just don't attack. They're like, what's this? Oh, it's my new friend. It's like, no dude, I'm pretty sure that thing's attacking you. You're like, no dude, this is my friend. He wouldn't do that to me. Your friend is a traitor.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
Gonna be a dead centaur again. Appears so. So the Manta's... I just don't think the Manta's good here. If he gets a butterfly next, it's okay. But if he doesn't get a butterfly next, it's not good. I think if you want to get a Yasha at this point, I think it's alright. But I think you should still get the butterfly afterwards. I think that would have been good. Yasha into butterfly into Manta, that sounds okay to me. But Manta first, butterfly would have been better. Keep you evasive against like Lycan and Veno wards. Most importantly, the Viper. He's gonna die here.
My timeline snaps.
Can't hang out at that low HP. You either need lifesteal or you need to go back and heal. Definitely needed to do that. So, Armlet on Legion. He has only accomplished 2 duels.
Dire's top tower is under
His damage
attack.
is okay. I think Armlet is a decent Legion item.
Dire's top tower has fallen.
This will do nicely.
Barrett is actually really farmed. He's going the correct item build, which is good. For items, he should buy BKB. No, you should get a Ghost Scepter, I think. Ghost Scepter would protect him against the Weaver. That's actually another item Weaver could buy is something like that. Alright, now he's running. That was far too early to duel. Miss, 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 miss. Yeah, he can't beat a Viper. He also didn't turn his armlet on, I don't believe.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
Go Scepter. Okay, don't go Scepter. What a weird game.
Dire's
This is
top
all
tower
because he
is
died here on
under
the
attack.
Rax. And it may just lead to a Rax of their own. Kinda looks like it. I don't know if this is gonna be. Refresher is... I would actually like a Lotus Orb on Venomancer after Ags. I think that's not a bad idea. This guy's gonna have to BKB to win. Getting Gush was a big... or Geld was a big deal. Alright, he's actually just not gonna... He needs to BKB. He doesn't understand how much damage the poison does, and he'll just die. There's no reason to die there. He just needed to BKB off the damage while he chased. He would have been probably fine. But they just got double Rex because of this. Let's see how much damage the illusions do. Almost none!
Dire's top barracks.
It's their frickin' illusions. Alright, you found the real one. That was good. You should just go and finish off the Viper. No needs to change targets here. Is he gonna do it? He's doing it!
Is under attack.
Oh man, he's not gonna... It's really dangerous. Yeah, it's gonna be his death. Big mistake from the Weaver there. Did you buy back for that? Oh no, he didn't. But now he did. Didn't need to buy back there. Could have used the gold to maybe make a butterfly or something. He just needed a little bit more survivability. If this was a BKB, he could have won every single team fight for the rest of the game without dying, I think. So all he has to do is not get stunned by Scent or get lasted by Bat Rider. That's pretty much it. Or if he went a butterfly instead, then the Viper would have a lot of trouble hitting him. He's actually making an MKB, so he will have that solution. So I guess the butterfly build is out, which kind of makes this Manta shitty. He could still get an AC at the end, that would kind of work too. It would increase his survivability by a lot. Get the AC, later sell the Desolator to buy a Scotty. That would be good, I think. Maybe it would hurt. Maybe it's better to keep both, because then you have double the minus armor. I'm not entirely sure about that. If you look at the weakness of Viper, Viper is actually pretty weak to physical damage. He does have a butterfly and a Manta, which give him a couple armor points each, but something like an AC really increases your survivability. So if he gets all this minus armor, it's actually a way to beat a hero that builds overly tanky. Viper should be building some armor to compensate. The butterfly was a good solution against Weaver in terms of armor and overall physical resistance, but when he gets MKB, it's kind of countered.
Sean has fallen.
Alright, I like the Aegis on Weaver. I think that's good. Ooh, refresher on Shadow Shaman. That's really awesome. So you can double... Again, these do piercing damage, so they do less damage to heroes, 50%. But when you get an Aghanim Scepter, it more or less doubles their damage. They go from like 45 to 90, 60 to 110, 75 to 130. That's a lot of damage. So they're actually doing about 75 physical. That was quite unnecessary. You don't need to ulti for creeps, that's for sure.
Dire's bottom tower.
That's a
is
long
under
ass
attack.
cooldown, man. You don't. It's 2 minutes. You don't waste that for one creep wave. Definitely worth it. And Weaver will die now. It's the Manta doing a little damage, but really not that much. Yeah, it's just kind of at a bad spot now. His HP, like, he's just having too much trouble dealing with the Viper, and Viper's got a Vlad system. What? He literally attacked Lycan once, and the Viper auto attack killed him, and did bonus damage because another toxin, and probably a Monkey King bar. I bet his Viper's net worth is probably higher now, and it is, yeah. That's why he's dealing with them so easily. Like, the Weaver had a ridiculous advantage, but he never should have had 8 deaths. You should have had 0 deaths, basically, is what should have happened. If you ever get that many kills in your games, you should just not, you shouldn't die more than like 3 times. Like, you will die sometimes, but you shouldn't die more than that.
Radiant structures are fortified.
Oh, the flutter!
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
That's some really good damage.
Dire's middle tower is
Like,
under
at this
attack.
point, Viper is a really strong hero. These items, they're great. Like, I have nothing bad to say about these items right now, but the point, the order he did them in was pretty poor. Like, all of these items, these 4 items, none of these are ones that you should buy first. You should never buy any of these items first. It should be a mech into these items, in my opinion. It could be like a mech into an MKB, or a mech into a heart, or a mech into a butterfly, or a mech into a Manta style. It's even much better than the other build, in my opinion. So, just bad order on a lot of stuff. Almost everybody made bad item order mistakes, super farm inefficiency errors. It was like, what, a 50-minute game and everybody had 200 CS. The carries should have more like 300, maybe 400. GG, Team Noob, recommend me. That guy was so bad. I cannot believe that he typed that. It just doesn't make any... Like, is he just trolling? Is he dicking around like, haha, ha ha ha? I hate when people do that. It's so annoying. Anyway, that's a pub game. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I actually had a lot of fun watching this game, so I hope you guys learned some stuff about damage types, items to build on a carry, and not to rush BOTs on Venomancer when you could just buy a Midas instead. Alright, thanks for watching. See you guys later. Goodbye. Sorry, my face is like off the camera all the time. Bye.